Hello again, my fellow lunatics. I invite you to join me in this episode where we talk about the upcoming and powerful new moon in Virgo on August 23rd. It carries the seeds of the total lunar eclipse that will take place on September 7th. My name is Fa. The moon plays a significant role in my birth chart. I am also a reflector, which means I am deeply influenced by lunar energy every day. When I became aware of my design, I started observing and studying the moon's energy for a big part of my life. Recently, I started creating content on lunar astrology based on my learnings. In my work, I also weave in psychology and moon magic. These are tools that can help one understand and communicate with their higher consciousness. Let's begin with a refresher on new moon energy. No transit in the sky happens on its own. It always connects back to past events and past lunar cycles. Whatever this powerful lunar cycle has in the store for us, we have already started getting hints about it during the waning moon from before the new moon period. We can consider them as the seeds that will grow into a tree by the end of the cycle. The new moon is like a womb. It is a dark, fertile ground, and this is where the seeds from the waning moon will be placed. It is a portal that opens on the day when the sun and moon are together, forming a conjunction. This is the union of the masculine and the feminine. In that moment, the energy of creation and recreation is at its peak. That is why the new moon is such a powerful time for setting intentions. Now let us discuss the nature of Virgo energy. The qualities most often discussed are Virgo's attention to detail, their self-critical nature, their high standards for themselves and for others, and their ruthlessness in separating what does not meet those standards. The less often discussed qualities are that Virgo is not hungry for outside validation. They have their own personal measure for success. They are grounded. They make the effort to understand the rules of life, and they win by playing within those rules. In this way, they master the game of life. This mastery is not just for the Virgo suns, moons, or risings. It applies to everyone. Wherever Virgo is placed in your chart is the area where you are mastering the game. Virgo's belief system follows the principle that one can change the world by changing themselves. They are constantly curving and shaping themselves as they learn new things. This makes Virgo great at crafts. But Virgo values creations that serve a practical purpose. For example, a Virgo painter may create decorative art that also adds meaning to a space. A Virgo crocheter may feel most satisfied making something useful, like a shawl. No matter what craft a Virgo chose, they strive for perfection in it. In medical astrology, Virgo rules the digestive system and intestines. It is associated with the solar plexus chakra, which governs metabolism, purification, and discernment. Now, whenever a sign is activated by the moon, it also activates the other end of the axis. For what comes to light has a shadow, and every shadow has a light. Opposite to Virgo, we have Pisces. Pisces is the sign of transcendence. One of my favorite astrologers, Robert Hand, describes Pisces energy as both primitive and advanced. According to Robert Hand, advanced Pisces is when a soul has completed its journey and is about to end a cycle. At this stage, the soul experiences the death of the ego. It understands the oneness of the universe and surrenders to it. But the end of a curve in a helix is also the beginning of a new one. Pisces also represents this beginning, when a soul is just born and has an undefined ego. At this stage, Pisces can show confusion or inaction. This could come off as laziness. A Pisces person can embrace both forms of this energy. All Pisces are highly sensitive to their surroundings. Their energetic body is porous, which makes them susceptible to absorbing other people's energy. They often mistake others' energy as their own and may fall victim to circumstances. This is why Pisces often slips into the trap of victimhood. The undefined ego of Pisces can dwell in alternate realities or even multiple realities. This is why they may disassociate. Yet this quality makes them rare beings who know that countless possibilities are always open for consciousness to shift into. Without a strong grip on conventional reality, it can be difficult for them to hold this higher state, because our physical bodies have limitations. The story of this new moon is not new. It began back in September 2024, when we first experienced a lunar eclipse in Pisces. Lunar eclipses often bring endings and beginnings that feel fated. Events that unfolded in the last quarter of 2024 may have set the stage for key events of this year. These could be so major, they turn your life upside down. Let us take a step back and talk about what eclipses really are and the symbolism they carry. A total lunar eclipse is when the moon passes fully into Earth's shadow. The moon usually turns a deep red or copper color, the famous blood moon. There are three types of lunar eclipses: partial, total, and penumbral. Both partial and penumbral eclipses show only partial shading. Among them, total eclipses are the most striking and also the most spiritually eventful. Following the rule of as above, so below, what does this represent for our psyche? I want to borrow an analogy from Carol Rushman. She said, "It is as if you are in a room at night with the lights on. Then someone turns them off. When they come back on, you experience everything in the room as clearer, brighter, and magnified. It is an illuminated region. This is the kind of energizing an eclipse brings into a house." Another fascinating thing is that we see repeated eclipses in the same pair of opposite signs for about 2 to 3 years. The life areas linked to those signs remain under strong focus until eclipses move on to a new set of opposite signs. Right now we are living through a Virgo-Pisces saga. It plays out wherever Virgo and Pisces fall in your chart in the theme of these very signs. Have a look at your chart. Find Virgo and Pisces. Reflect on these questions. What story began in the last quarter of 2024? What big changes did it trigger in the first quarter of this year? I am working on content that goes deeper into eclipses, from astronomy to spiritual meaning. What I found during my research that left my jaw on the floor. I cannot wait to share that with you soon. If you are subscribed, it will show up for you on time. So, now we are living the climax of this Virgo-Pisces story. It will continue until the first months of 2027. If you are in touch with your intuition, you may already sense the stage is set. And now it is showtime. But remember, events around eclipses can be fulfilling ones too. It could mean completion of something. It's all about how we choose to perceive it. It's true that this energy shakes up our lives. It asks you to realign with your design, your path, your calling, your mission. It is either a blessing or a blessing in disguise. To see which major areas of life are activated for you right now, look at your rising sign as well as your sun and moon signs. For example, if you are an Aries rising, an Aquarius sun, and a Leo moon, your 6th and 12th houses are highlighted, as well as your 2nd and 8th houses. Now the houses can be tricky to understand. Remember that every energy can manifest in countless ways. It will look different for everyone. For example, if someone's 9th house is activated, one person may enter priesthood. Another may start a master's degree, and another may take a world tour. You and your higher consciousness have the freedom to choose how to transmute an energy. My approach is to give you the essence of the energies, not rigid predictions. The current eclipse energy is asking Virgo and Pisces to take a deep look at their identities. This does not mean they are the worst sufferers. Every sign is going through change. Transformation is always a difficult process. For Virgo and Pisces, this shift is happening at the very level of identity. And when identity changes, many areas of life can be shaken. It might not be just the body, or just relationships, or marriage. Traditionally, the first house is associated with appearance, personality, vitality, and temperament. On a deeper level, it represents the qualities of our existence here on Earth. Before consciousness is born, there is no separation from a person from the universe. From birth, life is designed to see ourselves as an individual unit, a unit that is unique from everything else. That is the essence of the first house. We are born without fully knowing who we are. As we grow, life becomes a treasure hunt, with the greatest treasure being the discovery of ourselves. To help us in this mission of finding ourselves, we are gifted with mirrors. Through mirrors, we see ourselves more clearly. When we fall in love, we find someone who reflects our hidden parts. The good, the bad, and the neutral are reflected back to us through similarities or dualities. To deeply experience this, we form one-on-one relationships. We spend time with another, and through that bond we learn the most about ourselves. This is the essence of the 7th house. Traditionally, it is known as the house of long-term partnerships and one-on-one interactions, but at its core, it is a mirror. For Virgo and Pisces, these themes are in full swing. There may be fated endings in relationships that shake up the sense of identity. There may also be fated unions that change identity altogether. But transformation is deeply individual. We are not just witnesses. We are co-writers of our life story. For Leo and Aquarius, the eclipse energy activates the 2nd and 8th houses. Both houses, but especially the 8th house, carries depth and complexity. The 2nd house represents what we claim as extensions of ourself. It is about possessions, mostly material ones. For example, when money, status, or a role becomes so tied to our identity that our sense of worth rises and falls with it. That is second house energy. The paradox is that what we choose to own often ends up owning us. This calls for a reflection. What are you using as a measure of your value? A car? A title? A bank balance? Does it hold inherent worth? Or is it you who gave it that meaning? If the second house is about individual worth, the eighth house concerns the value that we share with another. This is why the eighth house traditionally represent shared resources, taxes, inheritances, and sexual intimacy. The duality of second and eighth house is that the second house concern with the self and the extension of the self, and the eighth house concerns with others and binding ourselves to the other. These bonds transform us, sometimes through merging and sometimes through release. This is why death and rebirth are associated with the eighth house. It is about endings and beginnings that reshape our path. For Leo and Aquarius, this period is a reckoning with value and bindings. What do you claim as yours? And what claims you in return? What contracts are you ready to honor? And which ones are you ready to release? Over the coming years, your relationship with money, possessions, intimacy, and power may shift profoundly. For Cancer and Capricorn, the third and ninth houses are activated. The third house represents the mind and how it expresses itself. Gaining and sharing knowledge, communication, siblings, relatives, and our local surroundings are all connected to this house. It reflects how our environment shaped us. Right now, there is strong mental energy available to you. It needs expression and direction. If suppressed, it can turn toxic to the mind. On the other end, the ninth house is about what we choose to become. It is about the expansion of the mind. And the tools for this expansion could be higher education, reading, traveling, or exposure to cultures and ideas outside our own. The ninth house is also tied to religion and spirituality, which historically expanded the mind toward higher consciousness. Ceremonies such as weddings or funeral can also reflect this energy. For Gemini and Sagittarius, the themes of family, home, and ancestry are highlighted. They are the matters of the fourth house. Some may buy or sell a home, expand family, or deal with family matters. On a deeper level, the fourth house is the sanctuary you return to when you are exhausted. For many, family is not equal to safety. If that is true for you, perhaps this eclipse energy asks you to find your sanctuary outside the traditional idea of family. This could mean leaving your past notion of the family behind. The fourth house is not just family, but also who you are when no one is watching, your habits that were influenced by your family. The 10th house is also activated for Gemini and Sagittarius. This is connected to career, work, and legacy. Some may change jobs or shift professions. Others may receive recognition or fame. Remember that your job may not be your true legacy. Your calling may differ from what pays the bills. This cycle may push you closer to your personal legacy. A useful analogy is that if the home is the root, the 10th house is the peak of the tree. Now, on to Taurus and Scorpio. For Taurus and Scorpio, children may be at the center of events. Others may experience breakthroughs in creativity or artistic expression. These two signs carry immense creative force. This is also why they are associated with intense sexuality. At its core, sexual energy is simply creative energy. This may also be a period of recreation, adventure, or romantic experiences. You may start or end an affair. You may also reevaluate friendships or social circles. Your hopes and dreams for the future may shift. Now, for Aries and Libra, the 12th house is activated. This house represents the hidden layers of the psyche. These layers are often not accessible to the conscious mind. It's like the basement of our deeper psyche, where we find aspects of ourselves that we suppress, because we are too scared to own them. It's also where messages from higher sources arrive, through dreams or sudden insights. Aries and Libra. You may have been dwelling in these hidden realms more than usual. Your intuition may be sharper. You may be seeing through people and their masks. Perhaps you have been feeling isolated. Spiritual messages often require solitude. Just like Lord Shiva meditates in solitude in Hindu cosmology, we also need solitude to dive into the psyche. The question is, what gifts from the hidden realm are you channeling into your conscious life? These gifts are influencing your daily routines. For most people, daily life involves work and health. It could involve things that we do to secure our spot in the society or to keep being alive in the reality. Whatever that means for you, it is changing. and the hidden realm of the 12th house is guiding this transformation. Again, I want to remind you that fateful events do not need to be painful. Change feels painful only when we resist it. Trust your soul as a masterful captain. Accept what you cannot change. Take charge of the rest. Reflect on the changes happening in your life, and in the spirit of Virgo, make the best of them. For my fellow lunatics who enjoy moon magic and rituals, this new moon is still a good time to make moon water and charge crystals. When setting intentions, some astrologers advise against making specific wishes, because the outcomes of the lunar eclipse cycles are often fated in nature. For example, if you wish to renew a relationship you have outgrown, the eclipse energy may still guide you to release it for your good. Personally, I respect the intervention of the universe during eclipses, but I am not here to tell you how to live your life. If you wish to make a specific wish, go ahead. I believe that the universe will also provide you the strength to navigate it. Thank you for watching and listening. Please subscribe and support me on Patreon.